Welcome everybody to another episode of K2 Disrupts. My name is Kenneth Chung, VP of Growth at K2 Digital, and we've got something special for you here today as well. I have my friend Tim, and today we're going to be talking about something really exciting, which is diversity in the workplace.
My name's Tim Morton. I'm the managing partner of Prompta Consulting Group. We're a transformational consulting firm, focuses on people, process, and technology, and really getting the most out of companies and helping them to be all they can be.
Yeah, and this concept of being all you can be is why I'm so excited about this. And you're saying again, Ken, it seems like you bring up topics that have been rough trodden over and over, and then you try to say that they should be disrupted. And quite frankly, this is one that is ripe for a disruption conversation. We've all seen on the websites from a supplier perspective and a workplace diversity perspective, a lot of people think this topic is about, the United Colors of Benetton, and certainly that's one piece of it, but there's so many other facets to how enterprises should be doing diversity. And I think when we actually look at the actual effectiveness of what organizations are doing to get this message out there and to strengthen their organizations, I think there's a lot to be desired. And I think in my conversations with Tim, we have focused on, well, what is the experience of that and what are the constraints on that? And I'd love for Tim to kind of talk about that now. Yeah.
Great. And when you think about culture and you think about diversity and you think about moving culture, it's going to take time. It's not an event. And companies pay a lot of lip service. They'll bring in a ping pong table, and they'll wonder why their culture hasn't changed. People don't have the authority to actually go and actually feel comfortable going and playing a game of ping pong during the middle of the day as a break. They haven't actually looked at the whole culture. And in order to change culture, you've got to be all in as an organization. As an enterprise, you've got to start with figuring out what the vision is. So often, somebody's got a vision, but they don't know how to bring it to life. And they really don't know what the problem is. So one of the things that we really do is we focus on vision, and then we look at what is success criteria. What are we actually trying to do? What does a diverse, what does an inclusive organization look like? And then we work with leaders. And it starts with the leaders, because leaders need to provide that vision. They need to bring that vision to life. They need to show what this company could and will be in the future. And then the big part of that is capabilities. We've got to give the organization capabilities. We've got to do sessions to bring this to life. So we need to change culture, and it needs to be an all-in with leaders driving it. And when you change culture, you actually are changing mindsets. You're changing the DNA of a company. So if you want to actually change and become a more diverse and inclusive company, it starts with leaders, but it's all about the culture. And then you got to operationalize it. You've got to take the time, you've got to put steps in, and you've got to continually build on this vision. And you've got to focus on the success criteria. And when you do that, this all-in approach, that's how you become a diverse and inclusive organization.
Yeah, and this is exactly why we're so excited to be talking about this from a K2 Digital perspective, right? We say digital transformation, we say business transformation, and we always talk about how just looking at tools, just looking at platforms independently, it doesn't make any sense. And then we talk about that whole people and process piece. And I think what we have done is done a little bit of the lip service that Tim is talking about, right? On the website, we'll put a supplier diversity program with some check boxes. When we do some hiring, we'll have some check boxes. When we talk about having, individual campaigns and events, but when you talk about a comprehensive enterprise strategy for the future of work and for future diversity in the workforce and creating a very inclusive culture, Tim's company has done a lot of work on how to formalize that, how to create the culture we're talking about, to go alongside a comprehensive technology program, platform, process, and enterprise-wide view that will create results so that when people say, what are these diversity programs doing for companies or what are companies doing for people, we can talk about real stories, real outcomes, and real changes. And that's what really gets me excited when we talk about digital transformation, business transformation, K2 Digital.
If you think about corporate social responsibility, when corporate social responsibility came out, it was splashed on walls of buildings. It was on our websites everywhere, but nobody had any clue what it meant. Mm-hmm. And it's taken so much time and so much effort, but now it's part of the DNA of companies. They understand what corporate social responsibility, that's one of the key determining factors for people joining companies and being part of companies and growing with companies and knowing how we give back to our communities and how we volunteer and what we're doing to enrich the lives of our company. And the same thing with diversity inclusion, it has to be an all-in. And it starts with leaders, but it has to be fed up from the bottom and from top down. It has to be consistent and ongoing. You can't just say, you know what, we've put some money into it or we've done this little short bit. You need to see a transformational program all the way through. And you can have checkpoints as you go to see how you're progressing, but you've got to have that vision and bring that vision to life. And that's so essential here.
That's perfect, Tim. And with that, I'd like to sign off on this episode of K2 Disrupts. I think we all know that we talk about data as a sixth sense. We should talk about inclusion and organizational learning as a seventh sense. So with that, signing off and hope to see you at the next episode of K2 Disrupts.